I've been thinking about where to go next with the Elves sideboard, and one of the things that I want to try is Bramble Wurm. Bramble Wurm is obviously just like a disgustingly broken card. Reach, trample, you gain 5, and you can gain another 5 later. It's kind of like Spinewood's Paladin. The way it's kind of like Spinewood's Paladin is if it's in your hand, it kills Terror. And it also has game if it gets countered, right? So if this gets countered against blue, you can still gain 5, which blanks a terror attack. It's not as good as Paladin against blue. Against red, it's 2 more mana. I actually think this card is worse against red than Spinewood's Paladin is. But the important thing is that this has 7 power. So against Monstertron, and not just Monstertron anymore, but all the Tron variants are now playing their own Bramble Worms and Kill Ships and Maelstrom Colossus, and Monstrous Emergence becomes a worse card when matchups have cards that you can't kill, right? And one way you can solve this is to play Lignify. I don't like Lignify particularly. So I think that another way you could solve this is what if we just played a different life gain creature, like Bramblewurm. So in this configuration I trimmed a Pachyderm, I trimmed a Paladin, and I trimmed a Fairy Macabre for 3 Bramblewurms, and that's what we're going to test today. How does this change the main deck? It doesn't really. So you could go up to 10 Dorks to make sure that you've got the mana, but I don't think you need to particularly. So we're just going to play a league with Bramblewurm, and we're effectively going to treat it like a Spinewood's Paladin, Primordial Pachyderm sort of combo, right? I think we can just start. Let's play league match. So this hand looks fine. So depending on what he does here, we might not want to expose this Korean Ranger on turn 1. Might just cycle this Ent. To 5, okay. Okay. Oh, this could be great. I think we're up against Monstertron. That's lucky. Scryers both to the bottom. Okay, so Monstertron, we're going to play out the Korean Ranger. We need a fast start, ideally. Malevolent Rumble. Okay. So they revealed Wooded Ridgeline, Pinnacle Killship, Writhing Chrysalis, and Expedition map, and chose Expedition map. So this is playing Chrysalis, which I haven't seen before. They're not going to use the spawn to play the map. Yeah, so we're just going to go Priest Pass. Priest. So one of the cards in their hand is a map. I guess they could Giant Boulder our Priest if they really want to. But that, I mean, we would be in an okay spot there, right? And we'll attack for 1. So against Monstertron in general, it's obviously not ideal to be on the draw, but you want to be faster than them. So we're just going to turbo out everything, and if we get board wiped plus kill ship, then that's what happens. But next turn we're going to be able to make enough mana to cast Timberwatch and Hunter. Okay, so land map. They played a land, so they don't have Tron this turn. I think that's probably a mistake. But more's the better for us. Interesting. So we do Winding Way. The high roll here is, of course, find another Korean Ranger and just cast every single card in our hand. But I think I'd just prefer to lock in this Avenging Hunter and Timberwatch off, because then they really need a lot to stop us from having threats, right? We know they're going to be choked on something. They might have to use this boulder for red to cast Breath Weapon, and then they also need Killship mana. They're going to crack this map in the end of our turn, and they're going to have Tron +1/+1. So they would also need a land? Yeah, they need a lot. Okay, so let's play Timberwatch Elf. Float 3, bounce and untap. 6, Avenging Hunter. Just get the ball rolling on the initiative. Yeah, we can't use 1 mana for anything. Yep. And attack for 1 again. Yep. Expedition map. Go and get the tower. Yep. I'm thinking about whether next turn I want to Forge or Scry to. So the 2 counters against Monstertron are often not relevant, right? It doesn't take your creatures out of range of the kill ship most of the time. But 2 counters on the Timberwatch Elf would get it out of range of Breath Weapon, which means that they need additional cards, and we get to save an additional creature if they do Breath Weapon. So I think that's still good, especially considering I have a draw spell in my hand. I don't need to scry for one. Chrysalis. Okay. So I thought that was Breath Weapon, which to be honest would be much more scary than this. As it is, I'm not sure I care about Writhing Chrysalis. Your tool. Okay, so if they had Breath Weapon, they would have cast it there. So I think, and now they have a Chrysalis. I think I just want to put the counters on the Avenging Hunter. Well, it's interesting, right? Because putting it on Timberwatch means Timberwatch never has to save itself. And when Avenging Hunter attacks, it's not like they can block favorably. They can make me use a Timberwatch activation, which is not that good. Yeah, okay, so let's forge onto the Timberwatch Elves. Do another land. So now we do go looking for the Korean Ranger, because if we didn't find it, we found a Nyxborn Hydra, which is pretty big. I can make 7 mana this turn. That's a Hydra for 5. Let's do that after combat. Or sorry, we're not going to play the Hydra this turn. We'll play an Ent. Threatening a massive Hydra next turn. Interesting. So, yeah, we want to use the... They are very dead next turn anyway. We don't need to use the Timberwatch now. Doesn't change the maths. Or does it? So we can put them to 10. Okay, it does. I'm going to use one Timberwatch activation because it puts them to a clean 10. We have 7 mana on each of our turns, so that's Generous Scent this turn, and then a Hydra for 5 next turn for exactly 10. And Generous Scent blocks this Chrysalis all day. Even if they have another Chrysalis, I can untap my Timberwatch off and make this one bigger, this Generous Scent bigger. So, like, if Monstertron stumbles on turn 3 and 4, Elves is pretty favoured, but the problem is that literally everything they can do on turn 3 and 4 is just broken. And they mulligan to 5, right, which is great. So they have a couple of options here. They can Giant Boulder one of a blocker and take the initiative, or try to, but the problem is I have, like, 2 lethal threats, so they really need to be doing something that isn't that. They know about the Hydra, so they know I have Trample on tap at any time. In fact, I can lose both Ent and Hunter and still be able to kill them. They have 11 mana right now. Okay, Giant Boulder on the Timberwatch Elf. That's fine. I don't think I want to use Korean Ranger right now, because they've just lost access to coloured mana. Yeah, no response. Another power plant. Okay. So, trap you down to 5. Draw another Hydra for turn. So I'm just going to bestow the Hydra onto the Generous Ent. They are very dead, definitely. I could not use Korean Rangers to untap the Priest. I could use it to untap this if they have, for example, Moment's Peace or some fog effect like that. But I think investing in the Hydra to take this out of killship range is better. So I am going to do this. Yeah, okay. So, sideboarding. All are monstrous, and then our 3 Bramble Worms, our 1 Voracious Varmint. So what is not good against Monstertron in general is Gingerbread Cabin. So the food from Gingerbread Cabin never matters. Like, that's not the kind of game you're playing with Monstertron. Um, you don't want to be looping cabin, um, because that means the game has gone long, and that means that you've lost usually. So we'll be on the draw. On the draw, Timwatch Elf is quite a lot worse against Monstertron. So, you know, as someone with a sideboard guide, you'd think I'd remember what was in the sideboard guide, but let me just see what stuff I've been cooking up, what I've been writing. Go to my own sideboard guide, which is, you know, link in the description, if I remember. Yeah, so let's cut the Sagus. 3 life doesn't matter, the body doesn't matter, which leaves only Roost-Seek, which I don't really care about. Let's cut Timberwatch, because it's not great on the draw. And then I guess, because like Monstrous Emergence isn't always good, it has to be with Bramblewurm, so let's remove 1, because Bramblewurm doesn't have to have Monstrous Emergence, it's also just an answer by itself. So I sided out 3 Timber, 3 Sagu, and a Cabin for 3 Wurm, 3 Emergence, and an Undergrowth Leopard. This hand looks fine. I have a second land, I have a draw spell, I have removal. I just need to find the Bramblewurm. Forest, Ancient Stirrings. Okay. Let me get Urza's mine. Nice. Okay, so we found the Bramblewurm. That's pretty cool. Let's cast Fintorn Elves. Say it's your go. You always love to see Monstertron lead on Forest, by the way, because it means you're not going to get turn 3 Trond. Ancient Stirrings again. Sure. I kind of think the best draw from this spot is like Llanowar Elves or something. Urza's Tower. Okay, so they have 2 Tron lands. Barrels of Blasting Jelly. Ooh, Priest is a great draw. Let's cycle the Ent and just play the Priest. We could play Korean Ranger and Priest at the same time. Is it like a mana breakpoint if I do that next turn rather than this turn? I think Korean Ranger is better in our hand. It just lets us dig our way out of a breath weapon if that happens now. Crop rotation into Tron. Bramblewurm. Nice. Okay, so we're gonna absolutely get him here. So we'll start by just going beast mode. Just priest. Cool. Any order. Again, we can be fairly certain that they don't have breath weapon, right? But based on that, what should we do this turn? Because we've got 6 mana. Can go priest plus monstrous emergence, or we can just play monstrous emergence. We have 6 mana next turn anyway, even if they crack this to kill the priest. So I'm kind of fine just killing their Bramble and passing the turn. As a rough lead happens. No, I don't think they have breath weapon. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm going to play the priest. Untap the priest. Tap the priest. Show you this Bramble Wurm. Ooh, Bramble Wurm. You got another one there, buddy? Just a big ass Hydra. That is fair. So playing Chrysalis and Hydra? This kind of feels like a no Maelstrom Colossus deck. We haven't seen one yet, right? Because, like, what you wouldn't put Hydra in a Colossus deck. Let's cast the Wurm. And then I've got what? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana to just stick on the Bramble Wurm, put it out of range of all their stuff. Yeah, gotta be done, I reckon. Actually, I have 9 more mana. It's just disgusting. Anything you can cast, I can cast bigger. Map. Crack the map. What are we getting? Wooded ridgeline. Interesting. Kind of says that they want to crack the barrels, right? Great. That's just. I mean, that's the best draw possible. Let's go looking. That's better. So we can exile their barrels, but we can also just hold it over their head, right? Um, I'm kind of. Oh, this is an enchantment. I'm like throwing. I'm throwing the game. Right. Cast this. They could crop rotation into bog, which would be a cool play. But that isn't going to happen. Cool. There's no reason to overcommit here. We're not casting these cards. Exile Bramble Wurm, go up to 13. Big Kriz. Kill ship. It's not bad top decking, is it? But yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? GG. Okay, so that was a pretty good representation of it. We paired straight into Monstertron, which was useful for testing. So what did I think of Brambleworm there? The stat line was super relevant. We got to kill their Brambleworm. We could cast it fine. Doesn't die to barrels, although Giant's Boulder is much more common. That was sort of like an offbeat list. Yeah, I hadn't thought about the fact that it also has a reach. It actually blocks the kill ship. So it might be the best card ever designed into Monstertron. It might just be that guy. But yeah, I mean, point proven that it's good into Monstertron. Now let's see if there's other matchups that we can try it into. And we're in match 2, and we have a hand of cards. It's a little bit fragile, but it's also a little bit broken, so we're going to keep 7. If this is like mono white or something, or Terra, this hand is pretty sick. I'm not respecting Force Spike. Watch me lose though. It resolved. That's a big game. So, if this is Terra, then resolving this Timber Shelf with this hand is like the most important thing in the world. If this is Fae, it's Terra. Nice, they milled 2 creatures. So this is Terra. This Timber Shelf is important. This Mars Vandal's basically useless. Sagu, we're just probably going to turn into a 3rd forest. So let's try and bait their counterspell with the Roost-Seek. Pretend I'm like weak or something. Cast this. Okay, they're gonna let that go. And then we're just gonna jam the priest. We have another priest. That one's resolving too. Okay, I did not expect that. Brainstorm. Just F6. Bro, why is concede game right there on the right click menu? I've never understood this. Like, it's surely just to troll people. Just resolving some spells and stuff. Terra's a great matchup to get for testing as well, right? It's because we're gonna see like, does the Bramble have game into Paladin? Because we're definitely bringing in all our monstrous and all our life gain creatures. Delver. Yeah, Delver's not so good now. They're tapping out of counterspell. Sleep the priest, that's fine. Land. Timberwatch off. Fintal Elves. Pass the turn. Reveal Deem Inferior. I guess that's kind of annoying, but we're not under a lot of pressure. What are the cards in their hand is the question. Like, we know it's probably not Counterspell. One's Deem Inferior. Mental Note? So now they could Deem Inferior for 2. What's their spell count? 2, 6. Yeah, they got 6. Cool. Terror. Cryptic Serpent. Okay. Nice. Hydra. Okay, that's massive game. So if we cast both our elves, which we're gonna do, I think I just want to resolve my hand this turn. Oh, we know they have Demon Inferior actually. Do we need to use this Hydra to win the game? So their hand is Deem Unknown. It's probably not Counterspell. Is it really that bad if we use like one-time Hydra and then... No, it's not. It's really not. Mars Vandal or nothing. Priest. Bestow for 5. Swinging for 6. Plus another 6. Yeah, I think from this position we want to put the pressure on. And the reason I say that is they have both a Deem and a Sleep. Like, if we're not putting the pressure on, if we're not pressuring their life total, we're going to die pretty quickly here. They're just letting it through. Interesting. We can blank their attack next turn if we don't tap this Timberwatch off. Does it change the clock? It might just be better to cash in the damage. I think their life gets quite a lot harder if we just don't do that. And the reason I say that is, like, imagine we tap there, and then they go Deem Inferior, your Elf or your Hydra, all attack, right? What do we do there? Do we just lose our Elves and block, making our Timberwatch worse? This way, whatever they do, we are going to be able to... Full Scout's fine. I don't even know what they milled. Cryptic Serpent Island. Nice. Just let's get rid of some more of those creatures. Yeah, this way, like, effectively they can't attack this turn, and then next turn I'll draw a card closer to the Timberwatch Elf if they tuck it, plus I'll still have the same number of blockers that I had previously. And because Deem and Sleep are both sorceries, like, I don't really have to worry about combat on their turn. Combat on my turn, sorry. They didn't shuffle. Deem the Timberwatch, so I guess we'll just pump the Vandal. So I think second from the top is fine. They're kind of choked on mana. We're in this game for a little while. Another snake. Forest, that's annoying. I think the way to make their sleep not valuable is to attack. Go to 8. And the thing about attacking there, right, is what do they sleep? Because I'm at 14. Yeah, they're not using sleep. I'm gonna block 2 and take 8, I think. I think that was a mistake. I think they should have slapped this. Okay, they found a land anyway. Yep. And then they sleep again and I lose. Okay. Game 2. Not the varmint. All of this lot. This. Vandals come out. Timbers come out. And then 2 Sagas. No, is that true? Leave a timber in. Cut the last Sagu. Submit. I'm probably on balance just not supposed to put the Timberwatch on top. I should just put it to the bottom and hope to draw something better. Because yeah, like I'm with their Sleep of the Dead in the bin, I'm losing to 3 snakes pretty quickly. But we also didn't see a Korean Ranger. We also didn't see a Generous Ent. Didn't see a draw spell. So I don't know. I'm not too upset about that loss. I probably could have played it a little differently. Yes, I would like to go first, thank you. This hand is rough. There's a lot of good draws, but it just doesn't do anything. I think we have time. I think, I don't know. I'm trying not to spend too long thinking about it, but I think instinctively this feels like, there's just infinite good draws. We just want to see any action at all in the next 3 draws. That's not what I meant. Brainstorm. I didn't play the other Korean Ranger there because I really want to get to 3 forests quickly, so I can start looping this cabin because we might be playing pretty defensively in this game. Depending on how long it takes for us to draw something. Mental Note mills 2 spells. So we really want to draw something now because they are off counterspell. They could have Envelop or something if it's a draw spell, but we still got to jam it. Let's see what this is. Sleep the Priest. That's fine. We did draw the draw spell. Yeah, you slept the Priest, but I have a Korean Ranger, so I'm not wild about that play. Creature. Okay, nothing. Good. Yeah, nothing. That's what we wanted to see. Yeah, okay. So that's bad. And I'll just play the cabin tapped. So this is it's probably snake time, right? Because 6 spells in the bin now. Didn't shuffle with the ponder. 1 snake, no response. Delver, okay. Generosent, thank God. Okay, yeah, so kill your snake and play the Delver, right? I can do it all. I'm trying to think if there's any way this doesn't work. No. Reveal a creature from your hand. Target the Tolarian Terror. Reveal Generosent. Pay 2. Yes. No response. Float. Return a forest. This one. I'll bounce the cabin. Tap. Cast this. And now, like, we're in a great spot because they don't have an answer to this Generosent unless it's Demon Furrier. I'm gonna swing. I don't think they can trade here. I think it's not useful at all. Yeah, so that's just 2 damage. I could have untapped a creature on my turn, but I don't really want to be bouncing lands, and I don't need to either, so yeah, they flipped the Delver, they revealed Thought Scour, okay. Land. How many Demon Furrier Terror even on these days? I don't see a way it's more than like 2, right? Yeah, the Ent has reach. I'm definitely blocking. I don't know what they could possibly have here. Deem it. Second from the top. I do want to draw that card. Flint on Elves is fine. No reason to play that before combat, but get it. A response. So that looks like counterspell. One thing I could do is wait a turn, or I could actually get a forest and just start looping cabin. I think I'm gonna wait a turn. Do I want to attack for 4? Let's say I attack for 4, they block, and then 3, 2, 1. So that's 10 damage total. It's not enough. But having 5 elves means they effectively can never attack. Yeah, I'm just going to pass the turn. And then based on what the board looks like at the end of their turn, we might cycle this Ent or we might keep it in hand. Of course, maybe we never want to cycle it because we're so favoured to draw a forest anyway. They are just drawing islands, which is, I guess, what we like to see. And if they're gonna do nothing, then I'm gonna do nothing. Another priest, we will cast that. So now we're attacking for 4 and then 4 and then 3 and then 2 and then 1. So that's 8, 11, 14, 15. But if we wait and then just make it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, yeah, I mean, we're not under any pressure. I'm just trying to close the game out while their hand is super reactive, right? I guess I can only attack with these 2 Korean Rangers once. So I might as well wait until he can't take me off anything. Yeah, we'll wait another turn. What I mean by that, sorry, is I'll be attacking with double Ranger, double Fintor, and double Priest. Can only kill 1 thing, which means next turn, the turn after that, I'll have access to all the same things. Of course, if this is another snake, that's annoying. It's a Delver. That's equally annoying. Any creature was annoying there. Another Generosent. Okay, well now we are just going to slam Generosents. Interesting. I'm going to cast the other one because they didn't counter that one. Maybe they were saving it for something that they think is coming now, but what is coming now is a generous Ent, so that's fine. Combat, that's it, and step. No response. They don't flip their Delver, which means it's a creature or a land. Is this Lorien? Demon Furrier. Okay, no response. Sack from the top. At some point I'm gonna cast this. They're on 3 Demon Furrier so far. Hydra. Yeah, that's pretty good. What's it going on? I guess a Elves. And it's for lethal at the moment. Cancel all of that. I'm supposed to go Priest. Bounce and untap. I missed a mana there. I'm just not paying attention. Like, either this resolves or it doesn't. There's not much to think about, but I could still be playing better. I don't know a better way than clicking through the symbol. If anyone does, please let me know. Yep, cool. Let's run it back. There's no changes, play or draw in this matchup. Arguably, when we were on the play, we wanted more Timberwatch, but I think when we're testing this build, we don't. So I'm just going to resubmit. This sounds pretty good. We're happy drawing either side of our deck. Like, draw spells are fine, lands are honestly better. Dorks are fine. They mull to 6. Island. Another monstrous emergence, not bad. So, depending on their mana next turn, I might try and cast this lead. Sleep my Elves. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's just land go. They're also having a relatively slow start, it feels like. Finton Elves. I mean, it definitely feels like counterspell, right? So I think we just cast Finton Elves and pass, considering they're not putting any pressure on. This is like a land drop. Attack for 1. So the reason I don't cast lead there is, like, they're holding counterspell mana. This wastes their mana, and it also means they can't put a spell in the graveyard, unless they want to counter Finton Elves, right? Like, what are they going to do now? Pass back? Exactly. Like, this is not incredible game. I feel like they will counter Priest. Do we try and get it out of their hand now? The counterspell? I'm just thinking, so maybe they have, like, if they have counterspell Cryptic Serpent, then I want to go lead this turn, because next turn I can go Priest plus Monstrous. If they have Tolarian Terror, I don't have the mana anyway, but I can always go Monstrous plus Priest. But I think you should always play the Priest if you have it, because then you can use it next turn. So let's just cast the Priest. Yeah, and this will eat a counterspell, gets combat, and attack. What a keep, by the way. I mean, it must have been like triple island counterspell, sleep some creatures, maybe? They're just going to pass it back. Okay, well now I'm sort of forced to cast this lead. That also gets countered. They're down to 2 cards in hand. My hand's like so reactive, right, that kind of need them to do something. Another island. Jeez. Alright, let's see it. Terror, yep. Cabin's fine. I think I want a Monstrous Revealing Avenging Hunter. I don't want to let them know that I've got Bramble Wurm for no reason. So let's lead on that. Monstrous, reveal, choose terror, choose Avenging Hunter, yield. Pay 2. Yes. Cool. Cabin, pass. This has been a super weird game, super weird match even. I'm not sure what their best draws are here. Like, more snakes, obviously, but I have Monstrous Emergence. That's not a bad draw. They milled Delver and Null. Tells me that they brought in a Null. That's interesting. Just for Hydra, I suppose. Maybe they also anticipate Lignify. That's another downside of Lignify. It gets hit by, like, Hydra hate. They could sleep an Elf, but they know about Avenging Hunter. Well, that would be a reason to sleep Elf, right? Is that I don't have 5 mana. They had Counterspell mana and didn't counter anything, so I think, like, it's safe to assume that they drew Thought Scour for turn. Otherwise, they would have done it end of turn. And cast it. So, one of these cards isn't Counterspell. The other one could be, I suppose. Just pass back with 5 open mana. I mean, yeah, let's not reveal any information. Let's just cast the Avenging Hunter. Resolves. Okay. So now that they have no pressure, I've effectively won the game because I've got the initiative. And I'm going to be able to go Forest, play the Fintorn Elves. Next turn I have 7 mana for the Wurm. Or Monstrous plus Ward plus Lead. Yeah, it's rough for my opponent now. Really rough. Sleep keeps them alive for a little bit. Then they've drawn another island. I mean, Ponder, yep. I guess where am I going with this Undercity? Honestly, I've got everything I want in my hand. They're on like so many Demon Furious. But I also want to just trap them, so we're definitely going Forge. And yeah, I guess we'll just Forge onto the Avenging Hunter. They didn't shuffle. Lorien. Yeah, Lorien's a good start at getting them back in the game. The problem is that they're taking minimum of 10 damage in my next turn. Or in my next 2 turns. Yeah, even with this it's still 10, because I'll Forge here, attack for 5, next turn trap you. Sack from the top, please. I mean, I want that again. Response, Forge. Ooh. I can't undo, but I could have scryed the top card and then drawn Avenging Hunter and replayed it, which would have been pretty cool. What if I just cast Bramble Wurm this turn? What if I cast Lead? See, Bramble Wurm misses 5 damage, right? And I think at this point in the game I don't need to miss 5 damage. Let's just cast Lead. Hit a Korean Ranger, that's just free money. Cast the Korean Ranger. Combat. 1, 2, 3. Combat damage. Bounce. Untap this. Bounce Gingerbread Cabin. Replay Gingerbread Cabin. Make a food. Cast Land Elves. Cast Elvish Mystic. Pass back. So now I can kind of just beat them to death with an army of 1/1s. Yeah, Snake is fine. Delve is fine. Because now it's like, are you going to counter Monstrous Emergence or Bramble Wurm? Because I'm going to cast both in my turn. Trap you. Cast Monstrous Emergence. Show you. We still don't need to show them Bramble Wurm. Show you. Yeah, show you Avenging Hunter. No response. They floated blue like they were going to counter it, but then they remembered that they should let the ward trigger resolve. So I could have metagamed and just not paid the ward, but then, of course, they would still have a counterspell, so that's not very good. So Bramble Wurm stops them getting the initiative. Well, they have a sleep, the dead. Oh, I have a Korean Ranger, so unlucky. Gingerbread Cabin. Cast Bramble Wurm. And like this, you know, what are they going to do? Like they're going to have to burn sleep on it every single turn for the rest of the game. I think this is wrapped up. The thing about sleep is that it's never over. Like they have 8 lands in play, so they could theoretically like double sleep plus another snake, and that's like not great. But with a Korean Ranger, I really think it's fine. And just like they cannot deal with the amount of mana that I have every turn, plus things to do with it, plus the cabin loop. It's got to be like sub 5% for them to win this now. They drew Thought Scar. They're going to Thought Scar. They mill Island and Null. I really don't think a Null is it in this matchup. It doesn't even deal with the Hydra once it's in play. Sleeper's fine. It's kind of a problem, right? You have to attack with both or none. Turns out the answer is none. I'm going to use Korean Ranger on my turn. Yeah, and that's it. Alright. So we didn't see much of Bramble Wurm in that match, but I mean, when it came down, it obviously won the game. Not that the game wasn't won already. But you can see how much of a problem is. Like the life gain is crazy. It has reach, so it having reach is like the more I think about it, the more I like it against blue because Spinewood's Paladin is good, but sometimes you do die to Delver pressure. Like turn 1 Delver into hitting you 5 times in a row is one of the ways that you lose to Terra. And this kind of fixes that problem. I mean, honestly, they didn't apply very much pressure, so I wasn't very constrained on mana. Like we just got to Durdle for a few turns, but I think it's okay. I think it's okay against blue. I don't think it's as good as Spinewoods, to be clear, but I like it. And I'll see you in the next match. Okay, we're back for match number 3. We're on the play. It sounds interesting, right? It's not bad. I just don't think it gets there against so many decks, right? Like, if it's Madness, we got a problem. If we don't draw lands or something, we got a problem. I'm gonna mulligan that. Also not a massive fan of this. It's also playable. I think I'm gonna mulligan again though. Yeah, this is better because it's got the Korean Ranger, so we'll keep this. We'll bottom a forest and I guess an elf because they're redundant. And then we'll lead Llanowar Elves and pass. Okay. Seems to be trying again. So we could go Timberwatch plus Korean on this turn. To cast a turn 3 Avenging Hunter, you need 2 forests. So I think I'm going to do that. Because ideally we'll get the initiative into play. So just a classic go and get Tron, it looks like. And from us it's 1, 2, 3, bounce and tap. Replay. 4, 5, Avenging Hunter. Crack the map. Yeah, that's fine. Gets a slippery cast. What is that? What is even that? It's a cycle land? Misinput? That's interesting. I mean, assuming not a mistake, that tells us that the 3rd Tron land is in hand and they need a green source, but that's a tapped green source. Maybe they want to look at cards. Yeah, so they did. They had the 3rd Tron land. Cycle that. Map. It's kind of cool that you can go and get a card with Expedition Map and draw a card, I guess, but this time get Forest. So next turn, what? Bramble Wurm? So I can bestow for 3. It doesn't take the Avenging Hunter out of range. So I think I want to keep applying the pressure. Either force, some amount of messing around with red mana to wipe the board, or some amount of, or just green Bramble Wurm, right? And then next turn I have an extra forest in play. I can bestow the Hydra for enough. Yeah, so let's go forest, Timberwatch Elf, combat, attack with all. Put to 9, which is effectively 4, but of course with Bramble Wurm it's not 4 at all. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about what's going on here. Okay. I guess we don't get to see any more. But it looks like Monstertron. So bring the same stuff in. Cut the same stuff. Not Paladins, sorry. Those don't come in. Yeah, so like this. No lands, that's got to be a mulligan. Yeah, okay. This is like a high roll hand, right? Bottom an elf. Honestly, bottom a Hydra maybe. These are important. We have no lands. Yeah, I think bottom a Hydra because turn 2 monstrous on our Fintorn is so bad. The Hydra isn't getting massive anytime soon. All the other cards are good. Yeah. Mine. Boulder. 1 top, 1 bottom. Monstrous Emergence is a nice draw. We need to find a Bramble Wurm though. Fintorn Elves pass. Power Plant. Barrels. Ancient Stirrings. Find Bond as ornament. Sure. Kind of just have to go priest pass. Interesting decision for my opponent. Okay, not that interesting. They just had it. A white. Coalition Honor Guard. Off go. Bond's ornament. Power plant. Get in. I think we exile the Bonder's Ornament here, so they only draw 1 card out of it. And a green. What's the green for? Crop rotation. Bajuka Bog. Yeah, okay. Sure. Fintorn. Ornament. Sure. All good with me. Cycle that. Ancient Stirrings. Another ornament. The second one's not that useful. That's a pretty nutty turn. Hunter's good. We need to find a way to cast it. Lead the Stampede. Nice. Done. Cycle the Ent. Play Forest, play Llanowar Elves. Yeah, that's it. Giant's Boulder. Unfathomable Truth, sure. No blocks. Korean Ranger's nice. So I guess we need this off the board. Let's cast the Monstrous Emergence. Have to choose this. Choose this. Korean Ranger, Avenging Hunter take the initiative. Or I think with Korean Ranger it's really, really hard for them to ever take the initiative without Breath Weapon, in which case we lose. Yeah. I'm down to do this, I think. Cast Avenging Hunter. Get a forest. Pass. So they could sack their spawns to kill it now. Yeah, I guess so. Sure. Yeah, Breath Weapon. No response. Yep. It's not as bad a spot as I imagined. I mean, we need to kill these Bonders ornaments like pronto. Hydra, okay. I think just play 2 creatures. Map, crack the map. Conduit pylons. Kind of signals that they. I mean, why? I'm not sure about. I guess just surveilling one is good. Another one of these. Sure. No attacks makes sense. They have a lot of mana. 6, 7, 8 mana. So they can always just do this in response to my Hydra. So I guess we need to wait a turn. Lead. Korean Ranger, Avenging Hunter. Any order. It's pretty nice. Just play our things, I guess. I guess with this on the stack, they can boulder my varmint if they want. That's kind of what it was doing anyway. Yep, no response. This is fine. It means next turn I can Avenging Hunter and then potentially string together a sequence of blocks and draws that wins the game. Treasure token, sure. Yeah. Rumble. Truth's Boulder, Stirring's Rumble, has to choose Boulder. Another Boulder's annoying. So hard to play through. Yep. Truths. Barrels. This is like Ratchet Growth or something. It's another Truths. Sack that. Okay. We can pick it up there. Let's go again. So on the play against this weird Truths deck with Coalition Honor Guard. I don't think I'm that bothered really. They seem to have less fatties than I would expect. And more control. Okay, let's run it back. Turn 2, lead the Stampede. I have double Monstrous Emergence. I'm gonna keep this. It functionally looks at like 10 extra cards. Fintorn, go. Mine, Boulder. Yep. Scries were top and bottom. Okay. So play the land. Just cast the lead the Stampede. Find lots of stuff. Little awkward, I think. I think I'm going to take the opportunity to put a creature in the bin in case of drawing Masked Vandal. And I think the creature I want to bin with this hand is Nyx 1 Hydra. Because Avenging Hunter can kill Chrysalis from hand, can kill Honor Guard from hand. Like these other things can't do that, right? Chrysalis, Stirrings, Hydra, Chrysalis. Okay, it's got Hydra in it, this deck as well. Plays another Boulder. Scry's top bottom again. Okay. I don't think we have a choice but to run out our elves. And if it's breath weapon, it's breath weapon, right? I'm going to play them both. Pass. Crop rotation. Yeah. Yeah, it's so rough. Stirrings. They are... What did they grab? Chose Chrysalis. Okay, so the hand is like... It's not amazing. Finton Elves is a good draw. Sure. Is it more important to play this Llanowar Elves than this Monstrous Emergence? So the problem with not playing the Monstrous Emergence is if they play another Chrysalis, I'm cooked. So I think kind of have to do that. Yep. So it's going to deal 11. I can put 1 in front of it. It's going to deal 10. Yeah, we were pretty much draw Mass Vandal or bust there. Oh well. GG. So a rough one there, I think. It was a strange version of the deck. What's interesting is that it was playing Barrels of Blasting Jelly as well. It might be that Giant's Boulder has made people realize that like fixing plus removal, you don't need that 1 mana artifact to draw a card. Like Blasting Jelly being a worse Giant's Boulder is fine. Oh, we've got one of those ultra sus 1-landers with cabin. With 0 landers, really. I am going to keep it though because like it's really good otherwise. We do have a draw step. Snow-covered island. Cabin go. Volatile Fjord, sure. It's actually not a great hand. I was like, oh, it's a tapped forest, but it's tapped every time. So with Korean Ranger, it's actually not very good. Like it'll have to get the job done. Torch, yeah. If I just draw basic forest, like I'm pretty turbocharged. Oh, we keep waiting. Sure, counterspell. Okay, so maybe I punted in mulligans, which happens. But if this is Jeskai, we're kind of okay still. Brainstorm. It's your Fleet Admiral, no response. Yeah, so this is like karma for saying that I'll draw a forest, because we're on turn 5 and I haven't drawn a forest in 5 cards. This is why you don't keep Cavern 1-landers, and I shouldn't have kept Cavern 1-landers. Yep. There's a snake. And we are very dead very soon. Take a draw step. It's not a forest. I'm just going to concede. And begin sideboarding. So this is another deck where Bramble Wurm will potentially be pretty good. It's this, and then it's these 5. Oh no, it's big Spinewoods. I love this bug, it's so good. Really, really useful. And then I guess we want Sagus out. And just don't troll. Yeah. Sounds slow. Slow and bad, I would say. It really sucks to mulligan something like this. It's not even turn 3 Hunter with the cards I know though. So yeah, that's a mulligan. That's a mulligan. Okay, this will have to do. I'm bottoming Hydra and I'm bottoming... Honestly, I think the Wurm, just because it's not doing anything right now. Leader's nice. Priest, go. Island cycle, gets the tap land. Plays the tap land. It means we're a-okay to go ahead here with our draw spells. This kind of telegraphs Breath Weapon, right? Like the red source is so important that they're tapping out of counterspell. I'm going to cast Lead the Stampede here, just because if I miss, I'm not going to have the opportunity to next turn if they kill this priest. And it hits bigly. The generous end there is really important. So I think we can discard this other lead. I clicked the wrong card. That's fine. Don't play tired, y'all. So counterspell, which we can avoid by simply not playing something. We can Roost Seek, which if they counter, it's like whatever. Yep. We can play this Forest. We can play this Elves. And then what? Honestly, it might just be like Cycle N plus Winding Way. Let's go Elves. Let's go Winding Way. Lose focus. Okay. Good to know. And we'll cycle the end of turn. So pass. Lorient. Island. Play the island. Oh, I shouldn't be F6'd. Torch on the priest. Sure, no response. Counterspell mana up. So you're about to see the magic of plot here. I am forest cycling this. Get me cabin. So I'm just going to plot and pass. And like, it's over. Well, it's not over, but in fact, I'm gonna cast the Sagu, the Roost Seek now. Yeah, and then we're gonna plot and pass. So next turn we double spell. We wasted their mana this turn. They potentially won't have enough mana next turn. Snake. Nice. Current range is very nice. Let's start by casting this. I always cast this first because you don't want to give them the information. Then next, I want to hold off on this Avenging Hunter because I want my things to be alive. I guess they're bottlenecked on red. Really bottlenecked, actually. Yeah, no, let's get some more creatures first. So we'll go... lead the Stampede. Counterspell. No response. Then we'll play this Korean Ranger. We'll pick up this cabin to untap our Elves. Replay the cabin. Cast Winding Way. Creature. So I could overcommit this Elves, but it represents a blocker later on. Yeah, there's no need to, so I'm just going to pass the turn. Cast into the fire. Yeah, sure. I don't need to eat a food here. No response to that. Next turn we just get to go Avenging Hunter, right? So I'm definitely trading this. You don't have many creatures in your deck. So it's hard to double spell on this board state, but I guess we're trying Avenging Hunter. Yeah, that eats a counterspell. No response. You okay? Mystic. Okay, so we need to Bramble Wurm this immediately. Or emergence it with the Bramble Wurm, you know what I mean? Oh, we don't want to reveal the worm yet, though. Can choose Generous Scent. Dead. If this was like Brainstorm or Ponder, they would have cast it, right? So I am gonna cycle this Scent, even though I could draw a forest. I guess I can play the elf and then wait to see if it's alive, and then end of their turn I cycle it for the forest. The thing about that is that I don't get to play the forest this turn, which means if I draw forest next turn, I could go Bramble Wurm. But on the whole, I think this is better, because maybe I can cast this Scent, maybe I can't. It also just, I mean, they know about it, but okay, Bolt. So we do want to cycle the Scent then. Or do we? No, we still wait. We still wait because if we draw forest, we cast Generous Scent. Or Avenging Hunter. Okay, now I am gonna cycle it. Not really sure why that's better. Is it better? Just waiting? Yeah, I think on the whole it's better. Because if the Avenging Hunter gets countered, it's just slightly better. And the reason for that is we're live to play Bramble Wurm next turn. Now, since it resolved, obviously, we have an Avenging Hunter in play. Like, that's amazing. But if it hadn't resolved, we would still have 6 lands in play, which means when we draw a forest, Bramble Wurm. Whereas if we just cast the Avenging Hunter and it resolves, great. We have the forest and we win. But if we cast the Avenging Hunter and it doesn't resolve, then we double lose, right? Because we can't cast Bramble Wurm next turn. We can only cast Ent. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So Sideboard stays the same. Interesting. So they're playing like Mystic, Azure Fleet Admiral. It's just classic Scred, right? So just submit. There's an argument that we don't need the cabin, but against Terror decks I always like having it. It's like, yeah, it sounds amazing. I couldn't have possibly come up with a better elf hand, I don't think. Maybe if it had a Korean Ranger in it. Keep it. Okay. Funny. Alright. Island Cycle. Gets a Fjord. Plays a Fjord. Where have we seen this one before? So, against this very obvious breath weapon, nice, I just drew another priest and literally never didn't have it. So against this very obvious breath weapon, I'm not going to play the Korean Ranger. I'm going to play priest and hold this. Then when they breath weapon, I cycle. And then the turn after, we play priest plus Korean. There's also an argument that you could resolve Winding Way here and just play Korean. Or you could play Korean and Winding Way and priest, but I don't want to lose the Korean, so even though I'm doing less with my mana here, I think it's better. Just torch. Oh, and they've missed a land drop. Okay. I might not want to cycle this Ent then, just because this has survived. So this turn I can actually go, I can't go Avenging Hunter. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on it, since they just killed Priest. Kind of signals that they don't have Breath Weapon, right? Interesting. Drew Forest. Let's go Winding Way first. Creature. Going Winding Way first, so if I hit a priest, it's like a priest they know about, right? Rather than play priest then Winding Way, they know we have another priest. We hit some cool stuff here. So I could go Elf Korean, but I think it's just better to go priest. More upside next turn. We just hope they brick again. Even if they don't, we're actually in a really good spot. Okay, looks like counterspell. So once we play this Korean Ranger and that one, it's effectively over because they just won't be able to stop the Onslaught Ranger. So they have to counter this or kill Priest in response, basically. Yeah, resolves. 3, 5, 6, 7, 10 mana available. If I play this Elvish Mystic, it's 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, which is a better number. And I could get even more if I played this other Korean Ranger. Let's try this. They can only kill one thing, right? resolved. Let's just try. What would we rather get counted? I guess. Well, we need to make the mana first, because otherwise they'll kill it in response. We were allowed to untap once. Well, let's try for twice. Bro is not happy about that. So 13 is lots. Let's start with Generosent. There's a world where I need a 4th forest, actually. I could get blown out. Let's start with Bramble Wurm. Cool, counterspell, no response. Avenging Hunter. Exile this, I think. Boston. Really hope this guy doesn't try and win trade with me or something. That is win trading. I'm not interested in that. Sorry. It's a league, dude. Come on. I don't think people, or rather, I don't know. Is this like a thing people do? Like check the record and then be like, offer some ticks for the trophy. Priest dies. Okay, no response. Keeping things instructive. We forge onto Avenging Hunter here because it takes it out of Scred range. We draw another Korean Ranger. We play a Generosent. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bounce and untap. 5. Bounce and untap. 6. Generosent. No response. Combat. Combat damage. Pass. Okay, and we won that one. Okay, so opponent has a mulligan to 6. We have a slow hand on the draw. I'm also going to mulligan because it just doesn't do anything quick enough. This is worse. They're also on a multi-5. I will mulligan again. This is better. We're keeping Forest, we're keeping Fintorn, we're keeping Korean, we're keeping Lead, so it's one of these three. And on that, it's probably Sagu, right, to have a second Forest? Yeah. And it's Mountain. Okay, well, we hadn't played against Madness. Let's see if it is. Yeah, Fintorn. I like drawing another Sagu if it is Madness. Grab pitching Snacker. Yeah, no response. Drew the Forest. Okay. I think I'm going to lead the Stampede then. Yeah. So there was an argument there for double Roost-Seek plus Korean Ranger, but I'm glad I didn't play the Korean Ranger because we just found a Generous Ent, which means that we can cabin loop, but because we obviously can't do that yet, I don't want to put it into play. So we'll pass back. Pitching Snacker. Just drawing the forest, the natty forests. So I'm just gonna play Forest Fintorn. So weirdly, we have the luxury of not playing these flyers, right? Because we have a Generous Ent that we could play next turn if they don't kill these elves, and they don't seem inclined to kill them, which is interesting. But if they do kill even one, then I can't, and I'd much rather be cabin looping then, so I don't think we will do that. I think we'll just attack for 1. And then pass it back. And we could just very well die this turn, by the way. That's also possible. We go to 10. It's like Bolt, Fire Blast, very elementary to kill me here. But it doesn't happen. I didn't cycle in their end step. That could be a game-losing mistake. We'll see, though. Gingerbread cabin. Play the cabin. Make food. And I think we're just supposed to go Sagu here, because if we were dead, we would already be dead. Sagu resolves. I'm at 13, you'll go. Fiery Temper on Sagu, yep. Holding my breath here, but it's going pretty well. Cabin. Tap cabin, play Korean Ranger. Green. Bounce and untap. Play Cabin. Play Sagu Wildling. Pass the turn. Or do I want to eat it now? I guess I'll eat it now. Because, like, if I wasn't dead at 9, then I'm not dead at 12, right? But if I give them a draw step, I might be. We don't know how, but it's madness, so I just would be. If they don't kill the Korean Ranger this turn, that's really good for me. I think they're sort of forced to. Even if it's with, like, yeah. That's correct, I think. Temper. Attacking with the snackers. These snackers are really annoying. Draw a Hydra. Hydras are very nice. So a couple of options. We can go Hydra X equals 4. 4/5, hard for them to kill and eat the food, going to 14. We could play a 5/6 Hydra, which basically never dies. Or we could go like lead food. I think what I want to do is bestow for 2 on this Fintorn Elves. Sorry, bestow for 3 on this Fintorn Elves, and then pass. Because this lets me eat the food, plus have a blocker which, you know, it's a 4/4 now, it's going to be a 3/4 when this Fintorn Elves dies. It's just really hard for them to profitably, like, you know, they can still spell plus snacker it, but it's 4 both times, right? It's never in bolt range, and I get to crack the food. So that's just, that seems like the best of both worlds. Yeah, I'm 100% blocking a snacker. Combat damage is fine. I guess I want to eat the food in response, right? Because I don't want to go to 9 and then crack the food and they go over the top. So this puts me at the highest possible life total. Highway robbery. Double snacker. Okay. Annoying, to say the least. And a gutter snipe. Right, so now we're on a real clock. Korean Ranger's the best possible draw. Let's go to combat. Attack for 4. Because they need to be dead. Korean Ranger. Bounce and untap. Replay. Make a food. Lead. Get Timberwatch Avenging Hunter. Sure. Any order. I'm going to play the Timberwatch Elf just because, like I said, they need to be dead, and that's a real clock right now. I can always, on their turn, tap and then untap to have the food up. In fact, I might just do that in their upkeep, so they can't go over the top of the Korean Ranger ability. Set stop. End the turn. But the problem with doing that is, what if they kill it in response, right? And then I don't have. Yeah, it's tough. It's tricky. Tricky. Ultimately, I think I'm fine to do this. Yeah, now you can draw. So, like, this Korean Ranger's gained 6 life, right? And they need to kill it, so it's gained another 3. Or 1, or whatever. Like, whatever they kill it with, like, it's done its job. Okay, so I think this was a mistake in upkeep. And the reason is that now if they bolt this, I'm forced to tap for the food. Unless I want to lose the mana, and then I take 2 because I'm not blocking a snacker. That was a complicated line. I think I made a mistake in retrospect. Declare attackers, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Again, same logic holds true. We do this. Combat damage, I go to 11. Kessig. Wow, I'm alive. Okay. 1 second. That's pretty cool. Change red cabin. Elvish Mystic. Go to combat. So. What could their hand be that I'm not dead, but I haven't won the game? Dart would deal 8 to me if it just went face. So it could be Dart Mountain. It can't be any 2 cards. It could be like it could be like 1 burn spell mountain. They haven't killed any of my creatures. I don't think it can be. So like I'm going to attack with all because they might be dead. Or if they're not dead, then I get to kill their. Like, they have to block, and then I get to kill their pingers, right? So, in you go. I imagine there's an equally complicated line for them. Yeah, so they figured out that they need to block like that. Pump this. Untap this. Fire Blast, target that Korean Ranger. Okay. No response. No response. Yeah. No response. No response. I'm just going to tap it again. I'll block with the Mystic if I have to. Just making them take 8 seems better. Can't cast this Avenging Hunter. Just eat the food. Past turn. Hope I'm not dead. So they've got a card. I think we can assume it's not a real card, otherwise I would be dead. We did that maths. And then what? So, well, there's nothing else to be done. Yeah, I think I played that okay. Clear attackers. All in. I'm obliged to block the 1. So 5 would put me to 6, which is... It's not different. It's actually not different. I don't think there's any reason not to block. So I should block to save the damage. Combat damage, go to 7. Draw spells are really bad for me. Holy. Oh, they had to discard a land. Of course, because it was a land in their hand. Yeah, of course. Nice. Okay, really nice. So, it's actually been a really good testing league. I didn't expect to get just like perfect matchups. We've seen blue, red, double Monstertron. I guess it was a bit weird, right? Anyway, 14 in. Vandals out. Priests out. Timbers out. Hunters out. 3 hunters. Yeah, looks good. We won a game 1 against Madness. Can be done. Caught on camera, by the way. Yeah, I mean, it's just an ideal hand, pretty much. If one of these was an Ent, it would be perfect, but can't have perfect. That's really good. Finton. Go. Doesn't die on turn 1. Okay. Plots of robbery. Forest. Cast Winding Way. Creature. Play a Fintorn. Double Fairy Macabre is pretty funny. Maybe I should have roost sort there, but you can only play a land a turn. I've already got a land to play. And if I'd done that, I would have to discard, right? Because I would have an extra card in hand. Yeah, so instincts were correct there. So, assuming that they don't wipe the board here with something, next turn I would deeply love to play this Spinewoods Paladin. We'll see though. Plot a second robbery. So you definitely have something in hand. Like, for sure. I have drawn all of my Fairy Macabres. Nobody expects the 1 billionth Fairy Macabre. I'll go up to 23. Because, like, I'm expecting, they plotted double robbery, right? So I'm expecting, like, Gutter Snipe, robbery, 1 trillion damage to you. And I want to be as high a life total as possible when that happens. Do they mulligan at all? No. Okay. Yeah, so there's the snipe. Robbery. Yeah, no response. No response. Sacrifices a mountain. Robbery. No response. Discards. Discard Sneaky Snacker. Of course doesn't trigger because those were the 4th and 5th cards for the turn. So it's going to be pretty rough to beat this, right? I mean, like, if we drew Monsters Emergence now, we're probably winning. Like that. Yeah, really cool. That's gaming. Choose a creature you control. Let's see if we can bait him into killing this paladin when it doesn't work like that. Choose target is Gutter Snipe. Choose creature you control is paladin. Bolt me. Does know how it works. Okay, so now if I go Korean Ranger, I can have 2 plus 2 mana is 4 mana. I'm going to Roost Seek once because if they kill both elves, I want to be able to cast the Sagu. If I draw a forest, right? And it's also just being 3 forests versus 4 is pretty different in terms of like drawing 5 drop then forest or forest then 5 drop or something like this. Grabbies, pitching, what? Snacker. I do have a response to your snacker trigger. My turn. Winding Way. Okay. So if I go Korean, I'll have the mana to do all of this, right? Let's start with Winding Way. No, we have to start with Korean just in case of bolt in response. So Korean Ranger. Green. Green. Winding Way. Creature. Just Avenging Hunter. Okay. The question is, do we Avenging Hunter now, right? I think the answer is no. They're not applying pressure, but we want to be gaining life. They have 4 mountains and 5 cards. Yeah, let's untap this. replay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sagu. I'm doing this all before combat so they can't bolt things in combat and stop me casting them, even though it does give them more information. I think that's necessary because I need to cast the spells, and it's, you know, it would have been correct to bolt these last turn, so that I don't think they're going to do it now. Anyway, pass the turn. Highway robbery, no response. Sacrifice, makes sense. Grab the prize, no response. Draw. Combat. Not concede game. Begin combat. Attack with all. Bolt. Fire blast. Get a basic. I'm not going to play this Llanowar Elves. End the festivities plus Fire Blast is a thing that can happen. I would like to be able to apply pressure after that. It also doesn't change things if they just kill this. This is still 5 plus the Forge. Flame Breather, I'm at 17 at this point. I think it's okay. We'll see though. Bolt. Targets itself. Ah, cool. Nice. So, 4-1 with Bramble, Wurm, Elves. Let me pull the list up again. Close. Pull the list up. 4-1 with Bramble, Wurm, Elves. Overall, I was impressed with Bramble, Wurm. I want to test it again. We had some great games there. I think that last one was a banger. It was obviously good against Monstertron. I'm not sure that it matters. So the thing... It needs more testing. But, like, in the games that I had it, how many times was it relevant? I think once. I think once it killed something that no other creature could kill. And then, like, when it was just a beta that won the game, it didn't win any faster than any other creature would have done. And ultimately, we didn't see enough of it, right? But it was great in that Terra game. Didn't see it against Madness. Didn't see it against Izzet. I think maybe what I would do is just go back up a Paladin, or perhaps cut a Bramble Wurm for a Pachyderm, And considering this is game against, I would assume that I'm bringing Bramble Wurm in against Affinity because it's just so hard for them to deal with. So, like, assuming I'm doing that, then I think, what if we cut this? If you actually want to do it, please. MTGO, thanks. What if it was like this, right? Remove and then add. You could even play 2-2-2-2 like this, for example. Or you could remove one of these and play another fairy if you wanted to. Yeah, ultimately I think maybe 3 Bramble Wurm is too many, but I'm very, very interested to see where this goes. Let me know if you try it. Let me know what you thought of it in my games. But that's it for today. Of course, link to the Metafy sideboard guide is in the description. One-time purchase, $20. You get it forever with all updates included. I want to upload more videos here, so subscribe to this channel. And also go sub to Bristol Pauper League on YouTube. Alright, that's all. Love you, bye.